Welcome to Trivia Clips, the channel where rock legends reveal their wildest secrets. Today we dive deep into the shadowy world of The Doors, a band that broke every rule and opened minds with music and madness. Get ready to explore poetry, mystery, and raw rebellion. Because these aren't just facts, they're doors to another dimension. Top 10 things you didn't know about The Doors 10. The band's name comes from a book about psychedelic experiences and mental expansion. Jim Morrison was deeply influenced by Aldous Huxley's The Doors of Perception, which explores the idea that drugs like mescaline can unlock hidden parts of the human mind. The title itself was taken from a quote by William Blake. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. Morrison believed that music could do the same thing, unlock new levels of consciousness. So when it came time to name the band, he chose something that represented that mental journey. And just like that, The Doors were born. Not just a band, but an invitation to open your mind. The Doors never had a full-time bass player performing live with them. Unlike most rock bands, The Doors didn't rely on a bass guitar in concerts. Instead, keyboardist Ray Manzarek played bass using a Fender Rhodes piano bass with his left hand. This gave their sound a dark, hypnotic, and eerie feel that set them apart from other bands of the time. In the studio, they occasionally brought in session bassists to thicken the recordings. But live, it was all Manzarek, multitasking like a mad genius. Jim Morrison absolutely hated being seen as a rock star or sex symbol. Even though fans worshipped him, Morrison despised the image the media created around him. He considered himself a poet first and a musician second, and he didn't want to be idolized for his looks. This inner conflict led him to rebel during performances, sometimes showing up drunk, mumbling, or even refusing to sing. At one infamous concert in Miami, he was arrested for allegedly exposing himself on stage. For Morrison, fame was a prison, one he never truly escaped. They recorded one of the first psychedelic music videos in rock history, before MTV, before YouTube, and before music videos were even a thing. The Doors were already experimenting. Their video for Break On Through, To the Other Side, was full of surreal images, quick cuts, and trippy effects. It was a visual trip meant to match the intensity of their music. Raw, unpredictable, and mind-bending. They didn't know it at the time, but they were pioneers of what would later become an industry standard. The Doors weren't just ahead of their time. They were living in their own timeline. Jim Morrison believed he was a shaman when he performed. He wasn't just singing, he was channeling something deeper, darker, and spiritual. Morrison studied Native American rituals and believed in spiritual possession through rhythm and words. On stage, he would scream, chant, dance, and completely lose himself in the moment. He once said he wasn't performing for the audience. He was leading a ceremony. To him, every concert was a ritual, and every lyric a spell. Their first hit, Light My Fire, almost didn't make it to the radio. The song was over 7 minutes long, way too long for radio play at the time, and the lyrics were considered too suggestive, with lines like, "Girl, we couldn't get much higher." The label wanted them to shorten the song and change the words, but the band refused. Eventually, a radio edit was released, and it became a massive hit, launching them into stardom. Sometimes standing your ground makes you unforgettable. Morrison died under mysterious circumstances in Paris at the age of 27. He was found dead in a bathtub with no official autopsy ever performed. Some say it was heart failure, others believe it was a drug overdose, and a few think he faked his death entirely. The lack of evidence and secrecy surrounding his passing only fueled the legend. He was buried in Père Lachaise Cemetery, alongside other cultural icons. Jim Morrison didn't just die, he became eternal myth. The band continued without Morrison, but it didn't last. After Jim's death, the remaining members tried to keep the Doors alive. They released 2 albums, Other Voices and Full Circle, with Ray and Robbie taking on vocal duties. While the musicianship was strong, fans couldn't connect without Morrison's chaotic energy and poetry. Sales dropped. Critics weren't impressed, and the magic was gone. By 1973, the Doors officially closed for good. Ray Manzarek was the true architect of the Doors' sound. While Morrison was the voice and spirit, Ray was the musical backbone. He played keyboard melodies, organ solos, and bass lines, often all at once. His classical and jazz training gave their songs a rich, haunting texture. From Riders on the Storm to People Are Strange, Ray's fingerprints are everywhere. He wasn't just a player. He was a sonic wizard. Jim Morrison left behind notebooks filled with poetry that were published after his death. He always saw himself as a writer first and spent hours scribbling thoughts, lyrics, and poems. After his passing, many of his writings were compiled into books like Wilderness and The American Night. These raw, personal texts show a different side of Jim, vulnerable, deep, and constantly searching for meaning. Some say his real legacy isn't in the songs, but in the verses he left behind. A tortured soul with a pen, forever writing beyond the grave. Which of these facts blew your mind the most? Drop your answer in the comments. I read them all. If you love rock, legends, and hidden stories, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Trivia Clips and turn on the bell so you never miss another trip through music history. And hey, maybe share this with someone who thinks they know everything about the Doors. See you in the next one. And remember, the truth is always stranger than fiction. More than just influence. Green Day's respect for Operation Ivy didn't stop at admiration. In interviews, Billy Joe Armstrong often mentions how the lyrics and energy of Op Ivy kept him grounded. At a time when punk was either going corporate or disappearing, Operation Ivy reminded them what it meant to stay true. And while Green Day eventually signed with a major label, something Operation Ivy never did, they brought that underground spirit with them. From their live performances to their anti-authority lyrics, the soul of that early punk scene stayed alive through their music. The legacy lives on today. Operation Ivy is still a name spoken with reverence in punk circles. Even though they never got mainstream fame, their songs continue to influence new generations of punk and ska bands. And Green Day, perhaps their most famous students, have made sure that legacy stays alive, on stage, in interviews, and through the music itself. Without Operation Ivy, punk may have taken a different turn. And Green Day? They might have never become the band we know today. A tribute in Green Day's DNA. Years later, even after becoming one of the biggest rock bands in the world, Green Day never forgot where they came from. In 2011, they started performing under a side project called The Cover-Ups, where they played small shows for fun, just like the old days. On the set list, you guessed it, Operation Ivy covers. It was their way of paying tribute. A thank you to the band that lit the fuse and showed them what was possible. And for fans who knew the history, it was a beautiful full circle moment. Outro ever heard of Operation Ivy before this video? Let us know in the comments. And if you're into rock stories like this one, hit subscribe and stick around. This is Trivia Clips, where music meets memory. Rock on.